Hello, this is Vivek Jaiswal. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Hello, good evening, everyone. This is Vivek Jaiswal, a volunteer at Orma Forensic Mart. On behalf of Orma Forensic Mart, I welcome you all the participants. Welcome to the 1 month internship program on forensic documents day 1. I especially welcome upon our guest speaker, Advocate Ayush Piyush Sir Shah, who has been advocate at Delhi High Court. You can raise your question in the chat box during the webinar session. Each question will be monitored by the chair and will be answered at the end of the session. Handing over the session to Ayush sir. Over to you, sir.
Uh, Thank you, Mr. Vivek. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening to everyone. Now, I'm really grateful to be a part of this lecture, and I thank Mr. Madhav Goel and the Ormap Forensic Mart for today's session. Thank you, Mr. Madhav.
Thank you, Ayush, sir, for being with us on today's session. As for today's session, you are invited to tell us all the students about the evidence value, the evidence, about the value of the documented evidence and how the documents are to be represented in the court of law. What are the laws regarding the evidences are to be there in the IPC or the law and order. So we are requesting you to guide us for all those sections. Please tell us about the evidence values and how we are able to present our report, and what type of queries would you like to raise regarding the documents and all. Please guide us about all those things.
Sure, Mr. Madhav. I'll surely make this session very interesting for all the ones. Thank you everyone for attending this session. Now about Indian Evidence Act. So firstly, I'll do is ki there will be a mixture of English and Hindi so that it will be convenient and easier for everyone, and it will be entertaining one as well. So क्योंकि यार थोड़ा बोरिंग करने से ना अच्छा नहीं लगता है. The subject should be interesting. It should be really you should be keen towards it, और वो एक चाह होनी चाहिए. So for that reason, I will make it interesting. Okay. So what I'll do is that firstly let you know that what is Indian Evidence Act. Now documents पे आने से पहले and everything, what I'll do is first I'll let you know some points about Indian Evidence Act, that how it came, what is the history behind it. Now, before Indian Evidence Act, there was Indian Penal Code and Criminal Procedure Code, which was in the year 1973, that is CRPC, and IPC, that is Indian Penal Code 1860. Now, as in earlier times, there were crimes which were not, there were no such laws which were being made and invented. But now, but now, as the society is slowly and steadily, the crimes rates are increasing in each and every sector. Maybe murder or rape and or robbery, dacoity, many others. So, or a criminal conspiracy towards the government, that is section 120B of IPC. Okay. So what I feel is that evidence is really important for the in the legal sector, in the legal department. And why is it important? Because Indian Evidence Act तभी आया है क्योंकि कानून इस देश में आया है. कानून को लाया गया है because of us, because people like us who have no restrictions, who are free and can do whatever they want to, जिसके चक्कर में the it has the name has been degraded. We have been called the poorest country and many others. So अब रेप का अगर जो काउंटिंग देखो and list देखो, it is really increasing. अब इंडियन एविडेंस इज इम्पोर्टेंट बिकॉज एविडेंस के लिए हमें अगर जो एविडेंस नहीं है, if there is no one who can prove, and if there is no such subject which we don't have, like legal documents or something like that, to prove in front of the court, then how is it possible कि यार हम लोग इसमें that how is it possible that we can we will protect the person or the minors in this point, or punishment by the court to those people who are criminal and who have done this and still they are loitering around the world and they are loitering freely. So, firstly, what I'll do is that Indian evidence may there are certain sections which are very important. Indian Evidence Act is been amended and it has been brought up in the year 1872. And firstly, evidence may be given of facts in issue and relevant facts. That is Section 5 of Indian Evidence Act. Okay. Uh, just let me know that am I audible or not, because if I'm just continuing the sessions and if I don't have any interactions, it will be very difficult. So just let me know that am I audible,
Sometimes
and
it's
it's
breaking.
every and sorry. Okay, I'll continue. Section 5 of Indian Evidence Act, that is given of facts in issue and relevant facts. Now, what does this mean? This means that whatever now, for example, as an advocate, I have a client and whom I have to protect, and in the opposite, there is other lawyer and there's a client whom he needs to protect his client or her client. In this particular issue, what particular thing, what happens is that the client will what they have briefed us, we draft in such a way that this is what has happened to us and we are not guilty about it, and the other party or the other person is guilty about it, and they produce the facts in such a manner that they are not guilty about it and we are guilty about it. And that is how the Indian Evidence Indian Evidence Act plays its role, and evidence comes in this picture. Now अब यार सब लोग क्राइम कर रहे हैं, कुछ हो रहा है, किसी ने नहीं किया है. अब जो लोगों ने क्राइम किया है, those people who are doing the crime, उनके ऊपर burden of proof nahi rehta. The burden of proof is lies on those person who tells कि यार they have done the crime, and you need to prove it in legal ways, under the law, कि आपको प्रूफ करना है उस तरीके से कि यार हम कि उसने उस तरीके का क्राइम क्यों किया है, एंड व्हाट इज how the crime is playing its role, and how what was his intention. That is section 34 of IPC. That is common intention. Section 34 of IPC is very important because हर चीज में, हर क्राइम के पीछे there is an intention, there is a motive, and that intention defines कि यार किस तरीके से, to what extent the crime has been done, और उसके हिसाब से the evidences are being brought up and it is being lied and it is being placed before the court. ठीक है. So Mr. Madhav, you will obviously agree with this that evidence में क्या होता है, जैसे किसी ने कोई crime कर लिया, for example murder ले लेते हैं, section 300 which defines murder, and section 302 and 304 which is the punishment for voluntary causing murder or voluntary not attempting for murder. Okay. अब इस पर्टिकुलर चीज में कोई किसी ने भी if supposingly there is a sharpened object which has been used for murder, right, or any object which is not even sharpened, like a small knife or pencil knife, ऐसी कुछ चीजें जिसकी वजह से there are certain cuts which is visible in the, तो अब वो जो cuts रहते हैं वो इंजरी कितनी deep fired, शॉर्ट गन मतलब गन से की गई है या पिस्टल से की गई है, और इन इंडियन लैंग्वेज कट्टा से की गई है, तो क्या, और वो उसका रेंज कितना है, व्हाट इज द रेंज, क्या वो उतनी विद दैट डिस्टेंस, एंड दैट इज द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी ऑफ द ऑफिसर्स of the government officers who have been prescribed with the foreign department to prove and give us the report so that we can prove in front of the court, we can place the documents. Now अब क्या होता है यार, अब फॉर एग्जांपल सेक्शन 300 है मर्डर का, अब किसी ने मर्डर कर दिया, पर दो एग्जांपल्स लेते हैं. एक एग्जांपल होता है which is with, and another example which is with you may call it pistol cutters. ठीक है, अब इसमें से आई विल कम टू द मेन द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ द judgment and the important matters. For example, KM Nanavati. KM Nanavati versus State of Maharashtra. I hope you people have heard of this case. इसके वजह से, because of this incident, there is a movie which was also being made, that is Rustam, right? उसी के बेसिस पे थी, लेकिन आई एम सॉरी, मूवी पे वैसा कुछ भी नहीं दिखाया जो पर्टिकुलरली वो केस हम आई हैव read that case is of around more than 500 pages with the judgment, and I have gone through it, I have studied the detail, I have gone in details, and to an extent wo just because to make that film commercial and all, uh, the name of the case is KM Nanavati versus State of Maharashtra. Okay, I hope you got the case. Because of what? Murder के अंदर there is a uh, defense which is being made, and what is that defense? I'll just let you know. Just a second. अब section 302 जो है तुम्हारा punishment for murders, and now there are the categories that the provocation, there is a provocation, right? There are certain exceptions which is being made. Now the first exception is that the provocation is not sought or voluntarily provoked by the offender as an excuse for killing or doing harm to any person. ठीक है, this is the first exception when culpable homicide is not murder. So in this particular case, KM Nanavati mein, there was this word which was used, grave and sudden provocation. Where has this grave and sudden provocation been come from, and how has it taken its place? It has been defined in, and it has been very well defined by the judges in their judgments in the case of KM Nanavati. अब इस चीज में क्या है, there is the first exception, that is culpable homicide is not murder if the offender, whilst deprived of the powder of self control by grave and sudden provocation, causes the death of the person who gave the provocation, or causes the death of any other person by mistake or accident. So grave and sudden provocation आया, this is section 304 का, when culpable homicide is not murder. So in KM Nanavati, what happened is there is Inspector Lobo, there is the name of the Merchant Navy officer KM Nanavati, and the other person whom there was the dispute which was going on because he slept with KM Nanavati's wife. So when the KM Nanavati's wife and they both slept together, what happened is that because of this rage, when he was the merchant, KM Nanavati was the merchant navy merchant officer, so navy officer. So when he used to go for the wars, he used to be out of his place for more than a year or 2 years, and when he came back, he saw certain changes in his wife, and those changes, what he saw, it reflected that she is having an extramarital affair, and that led to it, because the senses of the officers are very sharp, very because now then what happened is he got to know about it, and he spoke to his wife. He thrice asked her what happened to you, why are you changed, and then what happened is then she told about the person with whom she slept. He went with a rage, but he was so smart that he went to the his merchant navy officer wherein the pistols are being kept. He signed the register. He took the pistol from it. Then he took the bullets. And he went to the place, the house. Firstly, he went to the company of that person with whom her wife was sleeping with. Then he went to his house, and he saw that he came from the shower, and he was they had certain conversation. Why did you sleep with my wife? And if you sleep with my wife, you have slept. Now will you marry her, because you are not married? So will you marry my wife? I am okay with it, but nothing should happen to her image or reputation. So when this thing happened, and iske baad the person, what he said is, he it was clearly stated in the judgment in English and Hindi both. If I sleep with any other person, shall I marry? Should I marry to each and every one of them? This is the grave and sudden, grave and sudden provocation which led to the heat of the जो बोलते हैं ना heat of the moment में मेरे से ये हो गया. इस heat of the moment में he shot him thrice. ठीक है, and then he surrendered himself. उसने खुद ही surrender कर दिया था. Why did he surrender? And that is how he proved him. Yeah, there is a certain grave and sudden provocation. Certain limit होती है, कुछ लिमिट होती है, कुछ दायरे होते हैं which you should not cross. ठीक है. अब ये तीन जो फायर किए हैं, the three shots which has been taken, or which has been shot by Mr. KM Nanavati, ये एविडेंस कहाँ से मिलेगा? ये डॉक्यूमेंट से मिलेगा ना, कि कितने डिस्टेंस से मारा गया है, कि व्हाट इज द रेंज ऑफ इट, और उस हिसाब से भी प्रेजेंट द केस इन द ड्राफ्ट. और इस हिसाब से व्हाट हैपेंस इज कि जितना फैक्ट्स होता है इन लीगल टर्म्स, आई एम टेलिंग यू, इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कोर्ट, the judges only listen to the facts which have been presenting in the draft. जितना ड्राफ्ट में आपने बनाया है उतना ही वो लोग सुनेंगे. उसी हिसाब से the prosecution evidence will be taken place, the defendant evidence will be taken place, the cross examination of the evidence will be taken place, and the evidence will also be produced in front of the court. Okay. अब हमें एक रिपोर्ट मिलती है. अब हम लोग क्या करते हैं, इन्वेस्टिंग ऑफिसर जो है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल के एम नानावती में द इन्वेस्टिंग ऑफिसर वॉज मिस्टर लोबो. ठीक है, तो इन्वेस्टिंग ऑफिसर वॉज मिस्टर लोबो. अब वो देखते हैं कि क्या हुआ था, वो क्राइम सीन में जाते हैं. यहाँ पे आती है फॉरेंसिक की बारी. दिस इज वेयर इन योर रोल कम्स टू प्ले, वेयर इन forensic people go to the crime scenes. When they go to the crime scenes, they see that what is happening and what all has happened. They assume, they presume, and then when they arrest the person, the police has got the power to arrest the person if the crime has been done to an extent which is, बहुत ज्यादा, मतलब कुछ बहुत ज्यादा एक्सटेंट पे है वो. And it is defined, and they have the powers, and the powers are defined in criminal procedure code, which is been placed and brought back in the year 1973. ठीक है. सो सीआरपीसी में दिया हुआ है कि पुलिस के पास क्या पावर है, कब समन इशू किया जाएगा, एफआईआर में क्या क्या हो सकता है फर्स्ट, देन उसके बाद लास्ट में क्या हो सकता है, चार्जशीट कब बनाया जा सकता है, व्हाट इज द डेट ऑफ द चार्जशीट, व्हाट इज द डायरी एंट्री, everything in details it has been done, and these are also an evidence. I would want to tell you कि ये सो जो प्रोसीजर दिया गया है सीआरपीसी में, क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड में, this is also an evidence which we produce in front of the court that, Lord, my client is not at all guilty, okay, and I plead non-guilty because of the evidences which are being producing in front of the court. There is what should I say? There is FIR report. There are charge sheet जिसमें लिखा जाता होगा. FIR में आपने देखा होगा कि दफा 302, दफा 304, 354, which is outraging of woman modesty, section 503 criminal intimidation, फिर kidnapping भी लगा देते हैं. बहुत कुछ होता है. There are many sections which are being क्योंकि पुलिस क्या करते हैं ना, पुलिस देख लेते हैं कि अच्छा इसने ये भी किया, ये भी किया, ये भी किया. We lawyers need to prove these sentences. अब हर एक सेंटेंस के बाद, फॉर एग्जाम्पल पकड़ लो, आई जस्ट रीड आउट वन सेक्शन, ओके, विच विल बी कन्वीनियंट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल मर्डर. अब मर्डर का सेक्शन 300 डिफाइन करता है कि एक्सेप्ट इन द केसेस हियर इन आफ्टर एक्सेप्टेड, कॉमा, culpable homicide is murder, comma, if the act by which the death is caused is done with the intention of causing death, comma, or secondly, it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death of the person to whom the harm is caused. अब केएम नानावती और ऑपोजिट साइड में जो भी लॉयर हैं और उनके जो क्लाइंट है, they clearly stated that in section 300 the second part, it clearly states कि if it is done with the intention of causing such bodily injury as the offender knows to be likely to cause the death. अब यार केम नानावती वहां पे खड़ा था. I am standing over here. Now let's assume that I am the criminal. I am the press my fingers on the trigger, the gun will be there is already a loaded gun. I will shot and that person will die, or it will cause a injury to that person, जिसके वजह से सेक्शन 324 ग्रीवियस हर्ट, सेक्शन 324, 322, 321 which clearly defines 320 सेक्शन 320 से हर्ट डिफाइन होता है, फिर ग्रीवियस हर्ट, फिर वॉलंटरी कॉजिंग ग्रीवियस हर्ट. यहाँ पे आता है इनका काम, फॉरेंसिक्स का काम, कि वो दिखाते हैं कि वुंड कितना डीप है, व्हाट इज द कट, देन दे टेल अस कि एडवोकेट सर ये कट इतना गहरा है, इसमें अगर जो आप इस तरीके से वुंड पे अगर जो 0.3 mm या इतने mm से और इतने फीट से इतने डिस्टेंस से शूट किया है, जिसके वजह से दी व्हाट शुड आई से दी mark is permanent and it is so visible and so clear, and इतना वो डायरेक्ट इतना ज्यादा वुंड था कि जिसके वजह से वो हुआ है, तो वो लोग पेपर में देते, दे गिव इन द डॉक्यूमेंट्स. And in Indian Evidence Act, in the importance of evidence is there are two types of evidence. First is the primary evidence. Second is secondary evidence. Primary evidence में documents should be हाथ में दिया जाता है, ठीक है, मतलब it should be the hard in the hard copy, ठीक है. Just a second, just a second. या सो अब होता है कि इंडियन एविडेंस में देयर आर टू, वन इज प्राइमरी एंड सेकंड इज सेकेंडरी. द प्राइमरी में इट इज फॉर व्हाट, इट इज द हार्ड कॉपी, द सबमिशंस which is being produced in front of the court, and secondary evidence like for example section 65B which is the electronic evidence act, कि क्या मोबाइल फोन्स आजकल बोलते हैं ना, व्हाट्सएप चैट्स एंड एवरीथिंग आर encrypted and it can be decoded and it can be, and it is also now it is also we can also produce it in front of the court and वो एक एविडेंस के तौर पे भी आ सकता है. But firstly you need there are certain call in details, वो कॉल डिटेल्स भी होती है कि यार ये देखिए he has been talking to this person for since so many days, he has been having a connection with him. So from this these are also kind of evidences which are to be produced. अब हम यहाँ से हम लोग डिफाइन करते हैं, and यहाँ से the job of as I know that Mr. Madhav is in the forensic department and he's been posted in Dwarka now. So what I have seen is that he tells me if there are certain things which will be required for certain cases, please let me know, for that we are having certain equipments wherein we can हम लोग देख सकते हैं, कर सकते हैं कि कितना हम लोग उस पर्टिकुलर चीज में डीप है या फिर क्या है. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल चेक बाउंस का केस होता है सेक्शन 138, ठीक है. अब सेक्शन 138 चेक बाउंस के केसेस में what happens is that there are signatures which are being done by the person who presents the check in the bank, ठीक है, by whom the check has been presented. So when they present the check, what happens is that sometimes it reflects that there is an insufficient fund or insufficient funds होता है या funds not received, not retained. Yes, sir, there are certain disclaimers which is being produced in the if we get the statements from the bank. Like if a client comes here, we have presented the check twice of an amount of rupees 5 lakhs each. Then 10 lakh rupees वो हुए ही नहीं है, वो dishonor हो गया है check, and we cannot and I have presented in so and so date, and and then we ask for the statements. What is the statement saying? What are the then this is also an evidence जो हम लोग प्रोड्यूस करते हैं कि यार this it has been saying कि insufficiency of funds, ठीक है. सो ये जब इनसफिशिएंट फंड होते हैं, इसके वजह से वी कैन से कि दे नाउ यू नीड टू repay it, and because of it we file the legal notice, serve a legal notice. If there is no reply of the legal notice, then we present the case and we draft and we present the case. Now when we present the matter, what the first step which we take, issue notice, we summons भेजते हैं. Summons भेजते हैं through the request the court, so that they can also come in they can, then we can go on कि क्या ये check so and so bank, and that is why so and so jurisdiction has been attained, and that maintainable in the court, and we will try to present this too. So one second. So so this is how evidence also comes and plays. अब इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट में सेक्शन 65 भी बोलता है. नाउ प्राइमरी एविडेंस और सेकेंडरी एविडेंस, आई लेट यू नो द सेक्शन. डॉक्यूमेंट्री एविडेंस as today's topic is. So chapter 5 of Indian Evidence Act, section 61, 62, 63. 61 says proof of contents of documents. Before continuing further, I would like to know that are there any questions which you would want to raise, or you would want to ask regarding this subject, or regarding anything to pertaining to the legal segment or the forensics. If anything, if there is anything which has occurred to any one of your mind, and during this session, so please, you could feel free to ask.
Good evening, sir. So,
Good evening, ma'am.
how the question documents are proceed in the court?
The question document. Now, would you
Yes.
please elaborate for me? Elaborate what type of question documents you are talking about.
In case there is a forgery, so how this
In cases of,
yeah, and how this paper part will proceed?
okay, so thank you for the question, ma'am. Now, in case of forgery, the questionnaire documents. Now, proof of that is what I was coming to the portion, that is section 61. If you see, that is proof of contents of documents. That is documentary evidence. Now, proof of contents of documents clearly states that when facts admitted need not to be proved, and then it clearly states that the content of documents may be proved either by primary or secondary evidence, in which the primary evidence is where a document is executed in several parts. Each part is the part wherein the document is executed in counterpart, each counterpart being executed by one or some of the parties only. Now, about the question documents, in the case of forgery, what happens is we the signature which we have done, and it is not the signature of that particular person, but when we present it, it comes into the place that the signatures are not matching. The signatures are not matching. I hope, ma'am, you are asking the about this only, forgery, that the signatures are not matching regarding to section 138. I hope so.
Yes, sir.
So yes. So when the signatures are not matching, how do they get to know regarding this, that the signatures are not matching? The signatures are not matching because there is a system, there is a detector which is being made, and it is in front of the in the which has been produced and which has been presented to the bank sectors, that to know, because there are many cases and many amounts, many checks amount which is so high in nature, that is around, for example, 50 lakhs, 60 lakhs, which a person is been encashing and been giving by the check. So in this, the signature plays an important role. Now, in the signature, when there is a detection which has been found and there's a detect which has been, found by the bank system, what we do is, as a person, they produce it into they give it to the policeman, and that is how the FIR is being lodged. And once it is been done, uske baad we present the case. When we produce it in front of the court as the question document, we state and we clearly say that these are the documents in which the evidences have been found that the signature is not been matching. So there are certain questions, certain dilemmas in which we have been in which we are in, and now there are certain rules as to notice to produce, which is which is being clearly stated in section 66 of Indian Evidence Act. Now, in which the secondary evidence of the content, this may, as this is the electronic evidence, right? As I clearly told, because the computer has been detecting the signatures. So section 65B, so this falls into the category of the electronic evidence, which is section 65B. So ये section 65B क्या होता है? This section 65B falls into the category, and now there are certain rules of producing the evidence section 66. So secondary evidence of the contents of the documents referred to in section 65 clause A shall not be given unless the party proposing to give such secondary evidence has previously given to the party in whose possession or power the document is, or to his attorney, or his pleader, or the person who is representing him. Okay? Now, when the documents to be proved is itself a notice, when we produce it in front of the court, half of the job is done, 50% is done. Now, the document needs to be authentic as well. How is this document going to be authentic? These are to be proved by the forensic people. These are the job of the people wherein you need to prove, wherein you need to show. We need to prove, but you need to show that how is it possible, and what are the informations lying there, what are these informations which are being supplied, and then when from the nature of the case, it appears or is proved that the adverse party, means the opposite party, has obtained possession of the original by fraud or by force. अब जो सिग्नेचर किसी पर्सन ने किया है, whether that person has done it in the dilemma of the by committing fraud or by force matlab criminal intimidation section 503, or some force is being put, mental pressure, trauma, certain which is being put which reflects the mental intention of that person. इस तरीके से we try to define it. Sorry. Now, when the person is in possession of the documents and is out of reach of or not subject to the process of the court, now the document is out of the reach of the court, right? Because वो क्या है, जो पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन डॉक्यूमेंट है वहां पे क्लियरली दिया गया है कि these are the questions under which the person is being charged, can be charged under so and so sections, and we need to investigate, due to which the forensic people guides us he should be taken in remand for so and so days, and that is how the role of the authorizing representative, which we are being knowing, and the role of the court and the judiciary system and the law which has been taken. Okay? इसी तरीके से, this is how it takes place, and this is how it is being presented. If I am going fast, and if there are people who are not able to get certain things, please let me know, because I'm really sorry. I apologize for the same, because
Sir, we understand that you might go in the flow of the courtroom.
Yeah, because what happens is that, Mr. Madhav, we have done certain hearings. I have appeared in more than 48 matters till now, and there are certain things which we go in flow and we need to read, because FIR क्या होता है, FIR ना हिंदी में लिखा हुआ रहता है. अब in high court, there is a rule that we need to only speak in English. We're allowed to speak in English. So we need the permission of the court. And then when we read the FIR, we are like, आज इसने इतने बजे ये किया, इसने इस तरीके से ये किया, वो किया, ये किया, इस समय दौरान ये किया. So we need to be very fast and we need to present our case in short time. And there are certain arguments which I have seen, and my my senior counselors have also been presenting the matters for past 3 hours, 4 hours. The arguments has been led so much. So that is why I might be very fast. But if there is certain things which you need to ask me, and if I need to go back again to make you understand, or to make myself clear, I'll do that. I'll do the needful. No worries about it. So please let me know. So what I'll do is, can I make an interactive session and can I ask certain questions if everyone is okay about it? If you people are okay with it, then let's have an interaction session. I'll ask someone some questions to someone, and that is how you will be keen towards the subject, and you will be keen towards the forensic thing, and its the methods and the nature of work, and the because behind everything there is a creativity, there is an art. In our profession, in our legal profession, the art is to convince, not to manipulate. People say the people say that it is you people are so manipulative, but it is a negative thing. We interpret, we make certain interpretations, and that is how the judgments are cited, and that is how we proceed in the court, and that is how वो सब judgments हम लोग produce करते हैं in front of the court, and we recite that, milords, certain judgment contains this, and in the high court it has been stated this, in supreme court it has been stated this, and it has been produced by the lawyer in such a way that there can also be a different meaning of this particular section, not the meaning which has been going on since ages. Are you understanding? So this is also creativity. Now, how to produce the evidence, and how to you people go to the what I say to the crime scenes, for example. If because you people are students right now, you are graduating. Once you go out of this field, you will get to know how you people go to the crime scenes, how you led to the evidences, how it has been brought. So let's have some interactive sessions. Is everyone okay with it? I'll ask some questions. You also ask me, and we'll go with the topic. Let's make it impromptu.
See, guys, today we have a great opportunity that Mr. Ayush is with us as an advocate. So, अगर किसी का कोई भी question है, he or she is open to ask, because ये opportunity हमें बार-बार नहीं मिलेगी. So I request all the participants कि अगर किसी का कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, कोई भी एविडेंस के रिगार्डिंग, कोई भी कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ के रिगार्डिंग, तो वो अपना वेबकैम ऑन करें एंड डायरेक्टली मिस्टर आयुष से अपने क्वेश्चंस, अपने डाउट्स क्लियर करें, ताकि आज वो हमारे साथ, आज उन्होंने हमारे लिए स्पेशल टाइम निकाला हुआ है और वो हमें उसके ऊपर गाइड करने के लिए आज अवेलेबल है. तो अगर किसी का कोई भी क्वेश्चन है, कोई भी डाउट है किसी भी टॉपिक के रिगार्डिंग इन all the forensic sector, वो आज पूछ सकते हैं. They are open, as Mr. Ayush had told us that they have experience of 40 court hearings, 40 plus legal cases had handled by Mr. Ayush. So they have quite good experience in the Delhi High Court, Delhi Supreme Court, and other courts. So you are open to ask the questions to the Mr. Ayush speaker.
Thank you, Madhav. Thank you for encouraging them and making them feel, and making them feel free so that they can ask questions. Because to be very honest, guys, you should no one should hesitate, right? We as youth, as I am, the young generation lawyer, and I'm the first generation lawyer from my family. So we being the youth, we should be inspirational. We should not hesitate. We should be keen towards the subject, and we should have the liking towards it. Because if we won't have the liking, there won't be the creativity inside us. There won't be an art of understanding the subject, understanding the culture, and then we won't proceed and be successful because I am sure that each one of you who are attending this session, and even those who are not attending this session, wants to become successful in their life, wants to become a renowned person, wants to do very good in life, right? Everyone has their own dreams and achievements. So please feel free and let's make it an interactive session. Come on. Anyone?
Good evening,
सर
sir.
आयुष सर देखिए जो हमारा आज का मेन टॉपिक है मेन एजेंडा दैट इज व्हाई वी कॉल यू इज कि जो भी हमारे डॉक्यूमेंटेड एविडेंस होते हैं लाइक चेक बाउंसेस होते हैं उनके रिगार्डिंग इंडियन एविडेंस एक्ट के कौन से सेक्शंस लगते हैं इंडियन पीड ये जो आपका क्रिमिनल प्रोसीजर कोड है कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ में उसके कौन कौन से सेक्शंस जो हैं इम्प्लीमेंट किए जाते हैं एक फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट की रिपोर्ट की वहां पे क्या वैल्यू है और किस तरीके से कितनी सीरियस उस रिपोर्ट को कंसीडर किया जाता है कोई भी अगर डॉक्यूमेंट एग्जामिनेशन की रिपोर्ट हमारा फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट जैसे सी वी हैव देयर आर नंबर ऑफ पार्टिसिपेंट्स इन दिस सेशन all those are going to be a forensic expert for the upcoming days so उनकी जो रिपोर्ट दी जाएगी उनकी क्या वैल्यू रहती है अगर कोई कोर्ट के अंदर किसी केस के अंदर वो लोग अपनी रिपोर्ट देते हैं तो उसकी क्या वैल्यू होती है किस तरीके से वो अपनी रिपोर्ट को उन्हें प्रेजेंट करना चाहिए the depth of the report is to be up to which extent is to be there उन चीजों के बारे में आप थोड़ा हमें गाइड कीजिए ताकि हमारे जो भी पार्टिसिपेंट्स आए हैं सेशन के अंदर अगर वो अपना कल इन फ्यूचर अपना प्रोफेशनल करियर शुरू करते हैं दैट माइट हेल्प देम
श्योर मिस्टर माधव, आई शॉर्टली डू दिस. अब डॉक्यूमेंटेड एविडेंस में जैसे आपने बोला, फॉर एग्जांपल सेक्शन 138 चेक बाउंस, dishonor of check, because of the signature. Let's take it an example of signature. Okay. Now, Section 67 of Indian Evidence Act. Proof of signature and handwriting of person alleged to have signed or written document produced. What does this section say? I'll just read it in you know fast manner so that you can get it. वो section आपको पता चल जाएगा, ठीक है? So if a document is alleged to be signed or to have been written wholly or in part by any person, the signature or the handwriting of so much of the document as is alleged to be in that person's handwriting must be proved to be in his handwriting. अब इसका मतलब है कि अगर जो कोई भी वो डॉक्यूमेंट, जैसे कुछ भी डॉक्यूमेंट दिया गया है और एलिज्ड है कि इफ इट इज बीन साइंड और इट इज बीन डन, ठीक है? तो अगर जो वो दिया गया है और अगर जो डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं, जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल पकड़ लो दिस, व्हाट आई हैव इन माय हैंड इज, इट इज द ऑर्डर शीट डेटेड 12 November 2020. This is a matter of High Court of Delhi in which I have been appearing as a respondent for Rama Civil India Limited Construction. इसमें क्लियरली दिया हुआ था दिस इज, अब ये पकड़ लो, ये एक चेक का केस है, ठीक है? दिस इज अ ड्राफ्ट विच इज बीन प्रेजेंटेड, दिस इज द एविडेंस विच इज बीन गिवन बाय forensic people to us and we need to produce it in the court. यहाँ पे there is a signature of the person who has issued the check in favor of his name to the other person, and the other person has presented the check in so and so bank in so and so date, ठीक है? यहाँ पे वो उस पर्सन की सिग्नेचर है, यहाँ पे अमाउंट दिया होगा. अब जो सिग्नेचर है इन कोर्ट, physically it is allowed that the person is being called and the signature is being taken and is being placed in front of the court, in front of the magistrate, and so that this calls as an eye evidence, ठीक है? विटनेस हो जाता है, एविडेंस हो जाता है कि भैया आपने कोर्ट के सामने, इन फ्रंट ऑफ द कोर्ट, you have produced the evidence, so and so evidence in front of the magistrate, जिसको बहुत लोग बोलते हैं जी जनाब, जी जनाब, जो चले आ रहा है बहुत सारे मूवीज में, and most of the district courts in which I have been appearing, द्वारका, साकेत, हिंदी में allowed है to have or to present their matters. It is allowed in the local language, right? In the regional language, जैसे in Gujarat, Gujarati, Calcutta में Bengali, but in High Court, in each and every High Court of each and every state, it is clearly mandatory to present the matter, to argue, or for the appearance in English. Similarly, in Supreme Court. जनाब यहाँ पे सिग्नेचर था और सिग्नेचर के बाद यहाँ पे जो सिग्नेचर आपने किया है प्लीज वही सिग्नेचर अगर जो क्लाइंट को मतलब द अक्यूज्ड he is known as the accused. ठीक है. So if you could please, because until and unless he's not been proved, he cannot be given a title of accused. But at that point of time, the complainant has the power to give the name because it has been clearly stated complainant and accused in the criminal cases. In civil cases, Civil Procedure Code, which has been amended in 1908 of India, ये आ जाता है तुम्हारा petitioner and respondent, plaintiff and defendant, ऐसे define हो जाता है. ठीक है. So in criminal cases, what happens is complainant and accused. Now if you could just be as the authorized representative of the client, as an advocate, we say that Willods, what if you could just call down if you could just issue the notice or issue the summons and we could produce it in front of the court that Willods, the signature of this particular person, so-called accused, the signature of that person and the signature of the person who has been presenting the check, who has been issued the check, is same, and still there has been a check bounce and still there has been a dishonor of check, and which has been presented by my client in so and so bank. And then we will also file an application of section 151 CPC. क्रिमिनल में सिविल मैटर्स भी आते हैं, क्रिमिनल में सिविल मैटर्स भी आते हैं. देयर आर सर्टेन क्रिमिनल मैटर्स. अब उस क्रिमिनल मैटर्स में क्या होता है, जस्ट अ सेकंड गाइस, जस्ट अ सेकंड. या सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट in those criminal matters we also file civil का sections भी आता है. क्यों आता है? क्योंकि everything is interlinked. सेक्शन 156 सीपीसी बोलता है कि कोई भी इनजस्टिस को सीखो तो उसके लिए एप्लीकेशन आप लगाओ सेक्शन 151 का, ताकि आप लोग वो चीज को और फर्दर स्ट्रॉन्ग कर सको. यू कैन मेक इट मोर स्ट्रॉन्ग, यू कैन प्रेजेंट योर केस मोर इन अ स्ट्रॉन्गर मैनर एंड द क्लाइंट इज प्रूव्ड इनोसेंट at the initial stage. I won't say the final stage. जब तक judgment, till the time the judgment is not been made, till the time the decree is not allowed in favor of the client, till the time after the decree the judgment is not made and the order is not been presented with the statement of the client. I won't say tell you the court mannerism and all, which will, I hope, if I get a chance, I'll go with the in the some few sessions. If I get a chance, I'll surely do so. If Mr. Madhav allows me to do so.
Definitely, sir.
So yeah, thank you. So what happens is कि अब signature हो जाता है, सब कुछ हो जाता है when such thing comes into play. Now we make it कि यार we will also fight कि यार please Milords, if you could just please allow to any forensic expert and appoint in front of the court so that he can produce and he can clearly at that point of time, with the help of the equipment, with the help of the tools, he could detect that whether the signature is same or is it different. And if it is different, Shah, अगर जो वो H नीचे है तो वो H इसमें ऊपर क्यों है, क्या वो पहले भी ये करता था और he has changed his signature. ये सब चीज forensic experts guides us and guides the guides us मतलब सिर्फ आपको नहीं, हमको भी, and to some extent to the judges as well. They play an important role. क्योंकि अगर जो वो नहीं होंगे ना, हम लोग अपना काम करेंगे. हम लोग का काम है सेक्शन को डिफाइन करना, सेक्शन को इंटरप्रेट करना, सेक्शन को घुमाना, तोड़ना, मरोड़. This is what I do. This is what I've learned in my initial graduation days. को कैसे तोड़ा जाता है, मरोड़ा जाता है, उसको रगड़ा जाता है एंड प्रेजेंट किया जाता है. बिकॉज वी आई हैव बीन पार्ट ऑफ मेनी मूड कोर्ट्स. देयर आर सर्टेन मूड कोर्ट कॉम्पिटिशन जो एक्चुअल कोर्ट्स के जैसे ही होते हैं, कोर्ट मैनरिज्म में होते हैं. देयर आर द जजेस of the district courts which have been appointed in our colleges, inter colleges competition. उस तरीके से हम लोग प्रेजेंट करते हैं सब चीजों को. एंड उसी तरीके से हमें ये पता चलता है कि हाउ वी नीड टू डू आवर जॉब इज टू प्रेजेंट द फैक्ट्स व्हिच इज बीन to represent the client and present the facts which has been presented in the draft and in the petition or the document. फॉरेंसिक का काम है जितना भी भैया हमने वो ड्राफ्ट कर लिया है ना, उसके रिलेटेड हमें और खोजना है सबूत. तब क्योंकि कोर्ट्स विल नॉट गो इनटू द इमोशनल पिक्चर्स, इमोशनल चैप्टर्स. इट विल गो टू द एविडेंसेस, इट विल गो टू द फॉरेंसिक थिंग्स, इट विल गो टू सच डिपार्टमेंट की हमें बताए और कि क्या सही है, कौन गलत है. एंड वी डू एंड बिकॉज सी you must be in many of the movies, I must say, and it is a fact. I'm pretty sure, guys, that you must have heard the name of the famous judge, Mr. Chandrachud, right? उन्होंने बोला था कि अगर जो केस को प्रेजेंट करना है तो एविडेंसेस बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. एंड we should only give the punishment and the sentences to the criminals. and उसके वजह से सुना होगा पिक्चर में, अगर जो एक क्रिमिनल के एक इनोसेंट के क्रिमिनल के वजह से अगर जो दूसरा इनोसेंट फांसी के फंदे तक नहीं पहुंचता है या उसको सजा नहीं मिलती है, तो मैं उस क्रिमिनल को मतलब क्या बोलते हैं, रिहा करना चाहूंगा. आई वुड बी वेरी glad to free them rather than giving a punishment or sentencing a punishment to an innocent, which is going in India, due to which the precedents are not being set, the examples are not being set, there are shortages of judges. अब हम लोग कितना बहस कर लेंगे, at last there is a role of the judiciary as well, which plays a very important role. And that is how the judgments have been made on the basis of the evidences which have been produced in the court, right? This is how it does. Sorry, थोड़ा flow में और बहुत ज़्यादा fast हो गया, but this is how it is to be done. अब हम लोग क्या करते हैं, अब so now what happens is that what we do is कि हम लोग बोलते हैं कि इसमें आप बताइए कि क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. So when the signature is been done by that person, they her, you know, they see and let it know by the projectors. उसमें बताते हैं same why the pattern of the writing or the curves, you may call it, is different. And how is it done? By the equipment and the tools and the modern things which has been invented, and it is now coming in use so that we can, you know, हिंदी में बोलता हूँ, गिरफ्तार कर सकते हैं और सजा दे सकते हैं. ठीक है, कभी कभी ना हमें बहस करना भी हिंदी में मजा आता है, बिकॉज वी कैन यूज सर्टेन टर्म्स which makes it more interesting, and sometimes the judges also feel very good about it and he also shows interest to it, क्योंकि एज अ लॉयर हमारा यही काम है कि हम उसको अपनी तरफ खींचे, अपनी तरफ लाए. According to me, if a person has some issue and he wants my advice, what I'll do is I'm just deviating from the topic, let's do it, let's make the session interesting and funny as well. तो अब क्या करते हैं, अब हम लोग उसमें जाते हैं एंड जाने के बाद हम लोग क्या करते हैं, वी स्टार्ट डूइंग इट, वी स्टार्ट प्रेजेंटिंग द मैटर्स इन हिंदी. नाउ व्हेन वी स्टार्ट प्रेजेंटिंग द मैटर्स इन हिंदी, देयर आर सर्टेन वर्ड्स, कुछ शब्द हैं जिसको बोलने में मजा आता है, जैसे जनाब इसको गिरफ्तार कर दिया जाए, इसको इस सजा में ये चीज खारिज कर दी जाए और बाकी जितने भी चार्जेस लगे हैं वो सब खारिज कर दिए जाए. ये एक फील आता है. And when we see in a bigger screen, For example, when we, as an audience also, when I see in a bigger screen something happening like this, and if I have also done the same thing, it makes it much more beautiful. And the journey and the experience and the creativity, to be very important, it is a creativity, this is a art, it becomes very much more interesting, और बहुत मजा आता है इस कल्चर को और आर्ट को फॉलो करने। या सो जब ये चीज होती है और हम लोग करते हैं इस सब चीज को, so what happens is कि now when we argue, हम लोग बोलते हैं कि मिलोज ये जो सिग्नेचर है, इसमें ये सिग्नेचर की ये जो पैटर्न है, ये प्रक्रिया, ये इस तरीके से फिरी हुई है, तो आप मेरे को बताएं कि ये क्यों इस तरीके से किया जाता है या ये है। देन दी फॉरेंसिक वाला बोलता है कि सर मैं, देन वी स्टार्ट क्वेश्चनिंग टू देम, दैट इज हाउ द क्वेश्चन डॉक्यूमेंट, द लाइन ऑफ द क्वेश्चनिंग इज ऑल्सो बीन प्लेड, and that is how Miss Lung choice. So this is how it comes into play, that the questions, there are certain lines of questioning which is being produced and which is being made, उसी तरीके से हम लोग इसमें लेके जाते हैं और बढ़ाते हैं कि आप हमें बताइए, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मिस्टर शाहिद, मिस्टर शाहिद आर यू देयर? Mr. Vivek,
Yes, sir.
are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr.
Shahid.
Yes, Mr. Syed. Yes. So, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Syed, now for example, yes. So I'll ask you, like, for example, आप सोचो कि आप एक फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट हो, ठीक है, एंड देर इज अ थिंग, जो चीज कुछ सिग्नेचर में प्रॉब्लम है। अब मैं आपसे क्वेश्चन कर रहा हूँ कि आप मेरे को प्लीज बताइए कि आपको क्या ऐसा लग रहा है कि सिग्नेचर में कुछ डिफरेंस है, या फिर कुछ ऐसा आपको लग रहा है कि ये चेक जो है वो किसी और इंसान ने साइन किया है और ये चीज किसी दूसरे इंसान ने साइन किया है। क्या आपको इस चीज के बारे में पता है? क्या आप कुछ यू नो, कैन यू जस्ट थ्रो सम लाइट ऑन इट?
सर हर कोई आदमी का अपना अपना मूवमेंट होता है, जैसे कि पेन प्रेशर, लाइक रिस्ट मूवमेंट। सो इसमें क्या होता है, जो सिग्नेचर का जो एक सिंबल होता है, तो ये डिफरेंट हो जाता है। तो इसीलिए हम लोग
यस,
उसको या आई मीन एनालिसिस करके फिर देखते जो ओरिजिनल है क्या नहीं, ना फेक है।
मिस्टर
आई
शाहिद,
थिंक
क्या आप अपना
लाइक,
कैमरा ऑन कर सकते हैं?
यस सर।
यस। तो मिस्टर शाहिद, आपने जो टर्म यूज किया था, व्हाट वाज द टर्म व्हिच यू यूज्ड? क्या करके आप फिर वो पता लगाते हैं कि ये मतलब वेदर इज इट द ओरिजिनल सिग्नेचर, क्या ये ओरिजिनल सिग्नेचर है या नहीं है? वो आपने टर्म क्या बोला था?
सर मैंने बोला था
कुछ
पेन प्रेशर का, पेन
पेन
प्रेशर
प्रेशर
लाइक।
और रिस्ट, पेन प्रेशर, रिस्ट मूवमेंट, इस तरीके से आप
हाँ
करके पता चलता है। दिस इज a very great and very strong point which has been observed and which has been raised by Mr. Sahid. I'm very glad to see, this is why I make an interactive session. थैंक यू साहिद, थैंक यू फॉर दिस, कि आपने जिस तरीके से बोला, क्योंकि बहुत लोग क्या करते हैं, जो लोग पेन से लिखते हैं, जिनका प्रेशर ज्यादा होता है, उन लोगों का, वो लोग अगर जो ज्यादा प्रेशर होता है, तो देर इज ऑल्सो एन impression which is left on, तो अदर साइड ऑफ द पेपर में भी जब इंप्रेशन आता है, उस हिसाब से आई हैव सीन कि वो पेंसिल से डार्कन करके उसको करते हैं, एंड दे सी दैट वेदर द सिग्नेचर व्हाट दे हैव रिटन, दे ट्राई टू डिकोड इट, राइट मिस्टर साहिद? ऐसे ही करते हैं ना, क्योंकि प्रेशर पड़ता है, तो पीछे वाले साइड में पीछे वाले पेपर के हिस्से में भी आपका इंप्रेशन पड़ा रहता है, क्योंकि वो बहुत स्ट्रांग होता है, उतने प्रेशर से लिखा हुआ है।
यस सर।
जी, तो इस तरीके
लाइक दैट।
यस जी, तो इसी तरीके से किया जाता है। तो नाउ आई वुड से कि अगर जो इस तरीके से किया जाता है, तो इसमें आपका रोल होता है हमें गाइड करना, और हमें आपके वजह से ही एविडेंस के इंपॉर्टेंस के बारे में भी पता चलता है। दिस इज हाउ वी गेट टू नो the importance of the evidence because of the forensic expert कि how to go in details. Now for example कोई murder कर लेता है तो उस murder में the wound जो wound है जो injury है why is it so deep, the cut so deep, वो आप बताते हो, वो डॉक्टर्स बताते हैं, फिर वो फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट बताते हैं, तो वो सीआईडी में तो देखा ही होगा कि वो जो एक फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट रहता है वो बताते रहता है कि कितना डीप है, क्या हुआ क्या नहीं हुआ, एंड देन एसी पे प्रद्युमन सेज हाँ कुछ तो गड़बड़ है, समथिंग लाइक दैट, क्यों? दिस इज हाउ
जी
इट
सर।
गोज। तो फॉरेंसिक में इसी तरीके से फॉरेंसिक में किया जाता है। अब अब आप हमें बताइए, कोई इंसान किसी का पर्स लेके भागा है, ठीक है, इफ अ पर्सन इज अ थीफ, राइट, and he has stolen someone's purse, and if he has stolen someone's purse और वो कहीं गिर जाता है, कर जाता है, कहीं चोट लगती है या कुछ भी होता है, या फिर उस पर्स में वो पर्स कहाँ गया है क्या नहीं, तो उसमें हम लोग थोड़ी फील्ड का वो काम करेंगे। वी डोंट हैव द पावर एंड वी डोंट हैव द वर्क ऑफ डूइंग द फील्ड वर्क, द पावर इज विथ यू पीपल, राइट, तुम लोगों के पास पावर है, ठीक है। तो यही मैं बोल रहा हूँ, दिस इज हाउ द एविडेंस कम्स इनटू प्ले, एंड इसी तरीके से उसके इंप्रेशन और सब कुछ तरीके से लाइंस ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग होते हैं। लाइंस ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग के बाद हम लोग उसमें क्रॉस एग्जामिन करते हैं, क्रॉस एग्जामिन करने के बाद हम लोग इसमें डिफरेंट तरीके से वी ट्राई टू प्रोवाइड फर्दर लाइट इन टू इट। इस तरीके से हम लोग करते हैं जिससे इसके बारे में पता चले और हम लोग आपसे भी जानते हैं। as a lawyer we also get to know and we share this culture and relation। जैसे कभी कभार माधव सर हमें बता देते हैं कि यार एविडेंस में इस तरीके से होता भी है, इस तरीके से भी होता है, वो हमसे हमसे लीगल वे में पूछ लेते हैं, हम उनको लीगल तरीका बता देते हैं। तो इस तरीके से वी शेयर दी कल्चर, वी शेयर दी आर्ट एंड वी शेयर दी प्रोफेशन इन पर्सन एज वेल, जिससे हमें for that particular subject we get to know about this subject and we also gain something। To be very honest guys, I'll wrap up this session now, I'll sum up within 2 minutes, but I'll lastly say if you are in this profession and you are graduating in BSc or BLLB or any particular profession, any profession, कुछ भी, उस पर्टिकुलर चीज में गिव योर बेस्ट। बेस्ट मीन्स 100% you are doing it, and to be very honest, please be honest with your profession, please be honest with your subject, because if you are being honest with your profession, if you are being honest with your subject, you will reach heights, you will go miles, and there is no one। और फॉरेंसिक में भी नाम होता है, अगर जो आप इस पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट में हो आपका भी नाम होता है, क्योंकि आप एक एक्सपर्ट ओपिनियन देते हो, आप एक एडवाइस देते हो, आप हमें गाइड करते हो कि किस तरीके से हम ये लाइन ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग डालें, किस तरीके से हम लोग ये प्रेजेंट करें। यू पीपल ऑल्सो हेल्प, यू पीपल ऑल्सो guide us, and then we proceed, be focused, and please have a liking towards your subject, liking towards your profession and towards your creativity। फॉरेंसिक में भी क्रिएटिविटी है, उसमें उसको कैसे अपना इक्विपमेंट से यूज करना है, कैसे करना है, और अगर जो आपको सक्सेसफुल बनना है, stop being lazy, stop being, because this pandemic has taught us, and we have been lazy because of this pandemic, and because of this laziness some of our seniors, some of our brothers, न्यूज में आपने सुना होगा, बहुत अच्छे अच्छे लॉयर्स थे, पैसे नहीं हुए, they couldn't say because they have such a lifestyle, we have such a lifestyle to show that we are presenting ourselves as a profession, then we have our lives also। so इस तरीके से हम लोग क्या करते हैं, हम लोग देखते हैं, करते हैं, और उनके पास कुछ नहीं था, they start selling tea, वो लोग चाय बेचना शुरू कर दिए, they started becoming vendors। so the lockdown for some people has given a very good mindset, they have given them the patience कि हम लोग एक जगह बैठ सकते हैं, हम लोग इस चीज के बारे में सोच सकते हैं, एंड वी कैन डिग इनटू इट एंड वी कैन बिकम वेरी मच मोर. आलस छोड़ो, थकना छोड़ो, बी ऑनेस्ट एंड स्टार्ट वर्किंग एंड पुल अप योर सॉक्स. एंड आई wish all the best for all of your futures, all your bright futures, and all the best to all of you. And I hope that you must have liked these sessions. And if yes, please let me know. You know, अभी बता दीजिएगा कि अगर जो आपको, and if you want some other sessions, just let me know regarding the topic beforehand so that we'll discuss about it, so that proper agenda की इस particular चीज में we can get to know. You can also research about it. Thank you so
Mr.
much.
Madhav
Thank
for
you, Mr. Madhav,
there.
for there.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
sir.
Thank you,
Vivek
Mr.
Jaiswal.
Vivek Jaiswal.
Thank you, Ayush sir. Thank you for being with us, and thank you for today's such an interactive session. See, guys, अगर किसी का कोई भी question या कोई भी query regarding the legal proceeding in the court, regarding the filing a report in the court of law, किसी को कोई भी query है, they may directly ask in the WhatsApp group. I'll definitely connect with Mr. Ayush and get a proper answer for your query. Or I hope Mr. Ayush guidance would be helping us a great in the in our futures in finding filing the reports in the court of law. I wish all the best to you all too for your future careers. With all this, I'll also wind up today's session. For from tomorrow onwards, we are going to start on the topics of the question document analysis. We are going to start with the handwriting and the signature comparison with from tomorrow onwards.
All
All
the
the
best,
best,
guys.
guys.
All
All
the
the best.
best.
And
And all
all
the
the
best
best
for
for
your
your
future
future
endeavors
endeavors
and
and
all
all
your.
your.
Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
the.
the participation in today's live session and today's session for the on the basis of the evidence which we are going through. Thank you so much, guys. Lovely meeting you. Thank you for the session.
Thank you, Aisha. Thank you,
Thank you,
Vivek.
sir.
Now, please end up the session.
So
Thank you, everyone, for joining today.